Prosecutors are public officials who charge and prosecute people for crimes after the police arrest them. They are often called district attorneys or DAs. You may not know who prosecutors are, but they certainly know who you are. Prosecutors build their careers by targeting black and brown people and driving up mass incarceration. Yet today, communities all across the country have figured out how to force prosecutors to end the racist policies that create mass incarceration. Because of the racial justice movement, reform-minded prosecutors in some cities are now making real changes. But we have to keep up the pressure. In most of the country, prosecutors are unchecked and out of control. Meet Lisa. Though falsely accused of stealing an expensive watch that she got as a gift, the police arrested her anyway. The prosecutor told her that if she defended herself in court, he'd make sure she'd lose, and she'd get the maximum of 5 to 7 years in prison. She knew her public defender was underfunded and overloaded with cases and wouldn't be able to mount a strong defense, so she was forced to take the prosecutor's plea bargain of 3 months in jail. After being in office for 10 years, this prosecutor has ruined thousands of people's lives, just like Lisa's, without any oversight. Now meet Michelle, a third-year college student. On the same day of Lisa's arrest, Michelle was arrested for aggravated assault, but she spent only 6 hours in jail because the prosecutor decided not to bring charges. He said she's one of the good ones. Her future is bright. He also knew Michelle came from a community where he gets a lot of votes when he runs for re-election. Across the country, prosecutors pursue much higher sentences for black people than for white people, charged with the same offenses. They often let white people off easy for significant crimes while throwing the book at black people for petty offenses. Prosecutors also use the threat of long sentences as a way to coerce plea bargains from vulnerable people, especially black and brown people. When given the choice of a lesser punishment from a plea deal or losing in court against a powerful prosecutor and spending years in prison, most people feel they have no choice. They take a plea deal, even when it means getting a criminal record that will hurt them in life and accepting a punishment that is completely unfair. In devastating numbers, prosecutors are taking people away from their families, jobs, and communities, often ruining their lives and the lives of those who need them. People who never should have faced the exaggerated charges and sentences the prosecutor pushed for. Prosecutors think they can get re-elected just by driving up their conviction rates to look tough on crime. They go after people they think are not organized and cannot fight back. People in poor communities, often black and brown communities, and they play favorites with everyone else. Like the police, prosecutors exploit racist media representations to trick us into thinking that mass incarceration is necessary, but it has nothing to do with making anyone safer. Meet Prosecutor Bill Stillman. He's making calls to his most loyal campaign donors because he has a big election coming up. He calls himself the Law and Order candidate, promising to rack up conviction after conviction, even though crime has been down for a long time. When his campaign donors ask him what he's doing about crime, he proudly points to the increasing number of people he's put in jail, forgetting to mention that most of them haven't even been convicted of a crime. Meet James. He's accused of shoplifting, even though his white friends who were also accused were let go. James has spent the last 4 months in jail, including his 18th birthday. Why? He cannot afford the $10,000 bail that the prosecutor demanded the judge set. If his mother pays the local bail bondsman to get him out, she could get trapped in debt and fees that could cost her their home. It's money she'll never get back. So James is going to sit in this box until his trial, trapped in jail even longer than the sentence he'd get for shoplifting. Most people don't know that money bail is one of the biggest drivers of mass incarceration. Pre-trial detention, people trapped in jail while their case goes through the system, is responsible for the entire net growth of the jail population over the last 20 years. Prosecutors systematically call for high bail amounts that are far out of reach for most people, so they remain trapped in jail. Prosecutors use money bail to build their careers. Insurance corporations use bail money to make millions of dollars in profit. But all money bail does is keep people in jail who shouldn't be there. Meet Officer Hawkins. This morning during roll call, Officer Hawkins was instructed to stop and frisk young men in black and brown communities. Officer Hawkins already faces one accusation of police brutality. He should be all right, though. The police and prosecutors work hand in hand every day to drive up convictions. So prosecutors always give police the benefit of the doubt when accused of racial profiling or violence. In 2015, 986 people were shot and killed by police officers. Not one police officer was convicted of murder or manslaughter by prosecutors. One reason, police associations are huge supporters of prosecutors in their election campaign. Prosecutors should be working to end discrimination against black and brown people and other groups targeted by predatory corporations and the police. Their role should be to make all of our lives better, and they should answer to the communities they serve, to protect all of our freedoms in the Constitution. But prosecutors are actually taking away our freedoms and ruining our lives whenever it benefits them. They help create mass incarceration. Employers discriminate against people who have been in prison, ruining their ability to earn a living. Nearly 2 in 3 families with a loved one in jail or prison are unable to meet their basic food or housing needs. Politicians take away the right to vote from millions of people convicted by prosecutors through unjust and racially motivated voting laws. Prosecutors have more influence over reducing mass incarceration than anyone in the system, yet almost all of them work to increase it. There are nearly 2,400 prosecutors in the U.S. 96% are white, 80% are men, 75% run completely unopposed. They think they have no one to answer to. But we can make prosecutors answer to us. This is you. In just the last 2 years, people like you have organized to take on prosecutors in cities across the country and force them to change their practices. We are starting to win real changes, changes in the system that will affect millions of people's lives. If we want to drive mass incarceration and police violence down, we need to step up. Color of Change and organizations across the country have created a way for us to join together and win real change. Prosecutors have the fate of so many people in their hands. We have the power to influence what they do with that power. So how are we doing it? Learn how to get organized, what you can do, and how to get your friends involved. Help build this movement. Check out winningjustice.org.